Welcome back. This is part 2 of how to fork and build your own SafeMoon and how to deploy it. Let's get started. Alright, we're going to start off by doing the SafeMoon Fork. So what we want to do is open up the SafeMoon Solidity file that we're looking at in the last video, and this is the original GitHub. We want to just go ahead and copy all the lines of code. So let's just scroll to the bottom. Control C, all of that, and then we're going to go back to our remix editor that we were talking about earlier. If you guys forgot, that's remix.ethereum.org. That's the online compiler for Solidity, and we can also deploy projects from over here. So when you're here, you can easily just click on create up over here. Actually, we don't even need to create. I think it's like rename. Okay. You actually just want to go over here and hit create new file. We'll call it SafeMoon Fork.sol. So yeah, you want to have a .sol that stands for Solidity. So that's how the IDE knows this is a Solidity file that you're creating. Sorry, I had to quickly switch my browser because of some browser issues, but now that we're back. So what we want to do is we first want to go to the top, and because I wanted to show you the Solidity version. The Solidity version is 0.6.12. So when you're first working with Remix, you want to make sure that you're using the exact same Solidity version. So the compiler does it. So if you go to the left, you have a tab called Solidity Compiler. Click on that. As you can see right now it's 0.8.4. We want to change that back to 0.6.12 plus commit. Yeah, there should be only one version, so that's the one you want to go with. And let it do its thing. Let's go back to File Explorer. So now we're going to be using the right version of Solidity. Okay, so now once you see we've seen this before, what we want to do is just scroll down to the part where it's actually the actual contract for SafeMoon is happening. So there's the constructor before even the constructor. So right here, the contract SafeMoon. So what we want to do here is we know we have the SafeMoon Fork. We're going to change the name of the contract to be called SafeMoon Fork. This could be any name that you want it to be. It doesn't have to be SafeMoon Fork. I'm calling it SafeMoon Fork. So there are a few things we can change. So we're talking about this. The first thing is the total amount of tokens. So this controls the number of tokens. You can either increase the supply, then SafeMoon, you can add an extra 0 or remove a 0, or you can keep it the exact same. SafeMoon has about the original comes with about, I think, 1 quadrillion tokens. So it's this one with this many 0 times 10 to the power of 6. The times 10 to the power of 9 is actually because of its decimals. So because it has a decimal value of 9, you have to do 10 to the power of 9 whenever you're talking about how many SafeMoons are in circulation, or whenever you're talking about tokens of the amount of tokens of SafeMoon. So we'll see it many times. So if we were to change this to, like, let's say 10, let's say you wanted to work with, let's say for some reason you want to do 10 decimals, you'd have to change this to 10. And there are many places in the code where you would have to make that change. But we're going to keep it the default value, which is just 9. The next thing you can change is actually the name. So this is something you should change. So if you're making your own SafeMoon Fork, let's call it SafeMoon Fork, right? And this is the symbol. So this is the unique symbol for your token. So I'm just going to call it SafeMoon Fork. Keep it generic. You guys can call it whatever you want. The next things you can change are also like the tax fee. So remember how SafeMoon has a 10% tax. You can control the redistribution amount. You can control the percentage of liquidity that's sent to the liquidity pool. So let's say we don't want to do 10%. Instead, we want to do, let's say, a 3% distribution of the 3% distribution to all the users, and let's say just a 2% liquidity fee. So now you'd only have a tax percentage of 5% in your token, and 3% of that is distributed among the users, and 2% goes to the liquidity fee. And we can just scroll down. So there's this other boolean, or this boolean, swap and liquidify enabled. So this actually controls whether you actually send stuff to the liquidity pool at all. So in case if at any time, or if you wanted to build a token that did not support this, so you do not want to actually have that 2% fee that actually sends things to the liquidity pool, you can turn this to false. But we're going to keep this true. The next is the max transaction amount. This is the max transaction that you can send using your new token, so you can't send more than this many tokens. And again, 10 to the power of 9 is because of the decimal value of 9. We're gonna keep the rest of this the same. So if you guys are ever curious or ever wanted to like make massive changes, it requires a lot more changes in the code, which is out of the scope of this video, but for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to make some simple changes. The most important ones are just like the name and symbol, name and symbol, yep, and the liquidity fees if you want to change that at any time. And then finally we want to go ahead, I don't think this was here before actually. I'm just gonna remove this. I actually don't know if this was here before. Okay. Yeah, everything else like the constructor and everything would actually just stay the same. Yeah, so we can actually go ahead and test that everything's working by just going to the compiler and just compile Safemoon Fork.sol, and we're using 0.6.12. make sure that's correct, and just hit compile. As you can see, there's a plus sign. That means everything compiled correctly. Everything worked really well. So there you go. Everything's working just fine. Perfect. Okay, let's talk about deploying our new project. To deploy it, we can do it right through Remix. I was playing around with this for a little bit. I noticed there was something wrong with using the Binance Smart Chain testnet with for deployment. So we're just going to switch to the Binance Smart Chain, the official chain. And I'm just going to use my account address and make sure it's the right account address that you have. So to actually deploy it, you want to go to the deploy tab right over here, and you make sure it's the right account as you saw on the MetaMask. It's this one. Choose the environment to be injected Web3. So when you go to injected Web3, you should have a pop-up from MetaMask asking to connect to this wallet. I'm already connected, so nothing's going to come up. But yeah, so all you really have to do is in the contracts, make sure you scroll down and choose Safemoon Fork, safemoonfork.sol, not the address, not anything else. And then when you do hit deploy, it's going to try to deploy it. And as you can see, there's going to be a MetaMask pop-up. So right now I have insufficient funds, but I would have needed that much gas fees or something like that to actually make my deployment go through. So yeah, if you have the money, you can go through and actually deploy it on the Binance Smart Chain. This requires real BNB, and this is nothing to do with the test BNB. So keep that in mind. And once you confirm it and everything, it should all work. And once it works, you'll get a bunch of outputs in the console log over here. So when that actually goes through, and the console log comes up, it will give you the address that you for your new token once it's deployed. And then once you have the token, you can go to some place like Binance BSC scan and look at your token. And I'm going to do that next. Since I didn't actually have a chance to build or launch my own token, I'll show you what it looks like on SafeMoon. So if you go to BSC scan, just paste in the address over here and search it, you'd be able to get your own token. So right now it says the SafeMoon token, and then when you see that token, you'll be able to see things like the total supply, the amount of holders, which should be 0 for you, and 0, it should have almost like 0 transfer, I believe. One of the things was, if you remember that in the contract, as soon in the constructor from the first part, was that when the constructor runs for the code, it actually creates the pair contract address. So even in your code, as if you look at the read contract and scroll down, you will be able to see what the pair Uniswap v2 pair address is. And this is actually what you need to actually set a price for your token. So if you want to actually do that, let's do that next. Okay, so to add a price to your new Safemoon Fork, you want to add money to the liquidity pool, and so, or actually to create the liquidity pool, to actually set a price to it, you just go to PickSwap, the one that does it for Binance Smart Chain. You would just go into the trade, and then under trade, just go to liquidity, and you can just I'll just have to connect the wallet real quick. Yeah, so as you can see, there's the option to add liquidity, and then you can just choose a currency. So initially you're not going to have the currency searchable over here, so you want to have to go ahead and paste the address for this. For me, I already have some SafeMoon, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to do it with SafeMoon, and I'll show you what it looks like. So you want to do since it's Binance Smart Chain, you want to do a SafeMoon paired with BNB, and usually you want to do 50-50. So if let's say I use all the BNB that I have, this is the max amount of BNB I could have used, and this is the amount of SafeMoon I would have put it into, or like you could choose an amount of SafeMoon, your own token that you want to put into, and it creates the ratio and sets your price based on that. So yeah, if you need to add money and all that, or add liquidity, you do that through PancakeSwap. Thanks for watching, guys. This was part 2 of how to fork SafeMoon. Please leave a like and subscribe if this helped you. See you guys next time.